Welcome back. The CEO of Blackheart Productions, David Shakes Christopher, is of the view that sports can help directly reduce the crime rate on island. Christopher says the island needs to invest heavily in the development of sporting talent even during the pandemic.
Crime continues to be a perennial issue in St. Lucia. To date, the island has recorded 42 homicides. Many continue to lament what they believe could be the possible reason for the continued increase in criminal activity in St. Lucia, particularly among youth. The CEO of Blackheart Football Productions, David Shakes Christopher, says the social ills that are being seen, even more so now as COVID-19 continues to plague the island, may be as a direct result of the lack of both social and economic activity.
With the idle minds, we have people getting involved in a lot of things that they would not have get involved if football is on. And if you check the statistics, anytime Blackheart is on, the crime rates goes down. When Blackheart is on, all the different groups and what you would call the gangs and the pockets, they all assemble at the football field with no problems. So what the football does is it unites and it really absorbs the energy from those who you feel coming from the different disenfranchised area, because most of the footballers is ghetto youths. There's their skill. They only know to kick for goals. And if they can't kick for goals or shoot for goals, they can shoot bullets. So we need to get them back on track so they can shoot for goals and those shoot for bullets.
Christopher drew attention to the community of Dennery, which for some time was a hotspot for gun violence. He says the community of Dennery is well known in Blackheart as the only place to win the competition 3 times consecutively. Many times youth who partake in such activities are stigmatized and accused of being troubled. However, Christopher says he is of the belief that those who partake in illicit activities may simply need their talents harnessed in other areas outside of the academic realm.
Those people is very educated. They may not be educated academically, but they're educated skillfully. They can play good ball, and that ball could bring them where they want to go, because we saw Olympic where sports bringing people to. We have to encourage them to play more sports. So the first thing I would propose to the new government that's just been installed, to take a microscopic view the way how they do the estimate of budgets. Because for the past couple of years, I've been watching that, the way they do the estimate of budget. And if you check the statistics, sports get the less amount of money.
He made a special appeal to the incoming administration to place more attention on youth and sports in St. Lucia. Christopher explained that sports holds the power to transform the lives of the young men and women who take it seriously.
We need to take charge of the minds of the youths, and the only way we can do it is through sports. Sports is the only way out for these youths. They're going to put their guns down, they're going to focus on positivity. The next Olympics in Paris, we want to see more St. Lucians going up there, not only 5 athletes. I was the chef de mission in Rio. And when we go into Paris, we want to see not 5 athletes going to Paris. We want to see 55 athletes going to Paris. So focus on youths, focus on the funds where we could develop the sports, all the sports around St. Lucia. And sister, that's going to curb the crime if we put more money towards the sports and not a little chunk. Because when the minister gets a little chunk, it's headache for him to really take care of the whole spectrum of sports.
Christopher is of the firm belief that an increase in sporting activity will aid in the reduction of criminal activity by youth. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Over the past 2 years, due to COVID-19 protocol changes, there has been limited to no competitive sporting activity in St. Lucia. The Blackheart football tournaments are a staple in St. Lucia's sports, and the CEO, David Christopher, says 2021 marks 24 years since the organization's existence. He explained that despite the challenges of COVID-19, the Blackheart tournaments will be back.
For the last 2 years, COVID-19 has forced the world to stop and step back. This included a pause on all competitive games and sports that would require spectators. The Blackheart Football Tournament was one of the victims of this pause. The CEO of Blackheart Football Production, David Shakes Christopher, says the advent of COVID-19 has left the organization in limbo. However, despite the current spike in cases being recorded currently, there is hope that this year the tournament can be organized.
This year would be 24 years. You know, we just get into the 25. We call it the Silver Jubilee for Blackheart. The longest running tournament in the Caribbean right now. We were just attracting some real interesting overseas sponsors for 2020, but then COVID came, as I said, and really threw off the whole world, not only Blackheart. We were hoping that we're going to get back 2021 this year, but if you notice what's going on presently right now, we saw the spike is going up again. The CMO and the country had eased some of the restrictions because for boxing, you see, boxing is back on track. Not competitive, but the gym is running. But with the spike presently right now, we can expect anything could happen.
On Wednesday, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre announced that no crowds will be allowed at any sporting activities. Christopher outlined the uphill battle in trying to stage the tournament on a smaller scale.
We were looking to see if we could probably do a virtual Blackheart where we could have, get the footballers back on track. If you notice, the St. Lucia Football Association, they're going on with a few tournaments, but no spectators. So we were hoping that the spin-off from that tournament that the SLFA is doing right now could rub off into Blackheart, where we can use the same method, use their chemistry, and probably do a virtual. But we don't know what's going on presently right now with the spike that's going on right now.
He says Blackheart has over the years provided opportunities that are unmatched to the hundreds of players who have gone through their ranks. Christopher says the plans for 2020 and 2021 were spectacular, but for now, they are waiting to see what will happen with the virus.
We see a lot of the footballers who came through the Blackheart ranks is overseas right now. We see Lil Augustine Duval from Anseries out there. We saw what it did for guys like Zane Pierre. All those guys came through the Blackheart ranks. A lot of the guys who went to Trinidad came through the Blackheart ranks. And we were hoping that with the new sponsor who was coming on, we could have probably get some of the footballers to go up to the US because we were collaborating with the entity out of the US. But then, as I said previously, COVID came and threw everything off track. So we just have to keep our fingers crossed and hope that, something happen, something spectacular happen that we can really get back on the field.
Blackheart continues to be one of the biggest names in football. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
The spike in COVID-19 cases over the past few weeks has caused the government to alter the current COVID-19 protocols. In a national address on Thursday, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre outlined the new protocols, which consisted of a change in curfew from 11 p.m. to 9 p.m. Members of the public weigh in on the government's decision.
A spike in the number of COVID-19 cases has resulted in the government deciding to make a change to the COVID-19 protocols, one of which includes the 11 p.m. curfew being changed to 9 p.m. So Hot 7 took to the streets to get your reaction to the change in protocols.
Yeah, well, concerning the new curfew, well, I don't see no issue with that because at the end of the day, what happens is, if they say that there is COVID, which some people believe and some people don't believe, but if it's there, then, and they put the curfew, then so be it because there's a spike in it, right? So if that will help regulate what they say is the virus, then I think people should really get bad on that. But again, if there is a point where it is lowered and it is close to finishing or maybe 1-2 people, then I see the sense of keeping it. You know what I'm saying? But for now, if so be it, I see no problem in that. Let's follow the protocols and everything's safe.
We St. Lucians, we like to fit, and we don't adhere to the protocols because we feel that everything is okay, and then the cases goes up, then it comes back down, and everybody say okay. It's eventually going to change again, and then it has changed again. Now we know just after the general election, we know that the cases would have always gone up.
Si c'est lui qui a conduit, qui ouais la pas de avec ses goûts il fermer, nous pas empêcher fermer c'est puis fermer parce que préserver nous.
Everything the Prime Minister has done is scientifically based on treating people, not treating diseases. So he's put the curfew in a position where people can benefit, so the organism is in a healthier position to rebuild its immune system, its T cells, its B cells, rather than depression, which suppresses them, which is what the vaccine does and allows COVID-19 to affect the immunocompromised. Thank you.
Well, for me alone, that curfew could start from 9 o'clock. You understand? Because that virus in the air is not easy. Because so many people dying out with that. And you know, as those people here, they don't take anything seriously. It's like a game. But if one of their people pass through that, they will understand and they will take it seriously. You understand? For me, it could start 7 o'clock from your Lumpal.
I really don't have any big reaction to it. I am fully vaccinated. And we have to do what we have to do in order to survive.
They are critical thinkers and they can analyze. So I want us to know that address that we have to come back to good old common sense. Not because WHO said or CMO said we must just swallow it. It has to make sense, it has to be truthful, honest, and then we have to go back to honesty and common sense. Now the address last night I didn't hear it, but I heard that the curfew is 9 o'clock. No problem with that. If the powers that be finding their wisdom, the curfew should be 9, I have no problem with that. They cut down the social gatherings limited in their own mindset. That's their judgment. It's okay in their judgment. They have the authority, they have a right. But on the whole, I believe we have to be critical thinkers.
When we women been saying about the curfew that way, but it's much better because too much things, too much violence, killing and things in St. Lucia. The Prime Minister, which this one, Pierre, open his mouth and he say whatever he feel like and he consider he say. So I appreciate about the curfew that going on and everything because we have to secure ourselves.
Well, there you have it. Reporting for the Hot 7 Nightly News, I am Karim Nelson.
After months of discussions between the management of Courts Unicoma Limited and the National Workers Union, NWU, the parties have satisfactorily completed wage negotiations. The Deputy President General of the NWU, Solis Myers, says in spite of operational difficulties during COVID-19, both sides showed determination to have a new industrial agreement completed.
The National Workers Union has once again signed a new industrial agreement, this time with the management of Courts Unicoma. The parties have successfully satisfied wage negotiations which have led to a new collective agreement. Approximately 70 clerical, technical, sales and ancillary employees of Unicoma throughout the island will benefit from the following: an 8.5% general wage increase spread as 4%, 3% and 1.5% in years 1, 2 and 3 respectively. They will also benefit from a back pay, breakfast, lunch and dinner allowances along with a revised list of fringe benefits. All arrangements are being made to implement the new industrial agreement. Deputy President General of the NWU, Solis Myers, speaks to the development of this agreement and why it was necessary at this time.
The NWU would have recently signed off on a new collective agreement for the last triennium with Unicoma Courts. We've been in an industrial relationship with the company for a number of years. It took a little while in coming in terms of the negotiations over a few months. Everybody would know the impact of COVID-19 not only in the region and the world. So we were really happy and pleased we were able to come up with a finalization after so long in terms of the discussions and the negotiations. So the agreement was signed about a week and a half ago. The workers would enjoy revisions in terms of some of the benefits as it relates to the breakfast and lunch allowance, health and safety provisions. We also got a wage increase for our workers there as well. So we would have had our general staff meeting, informed the staff in terms of all of the updates. So we were very pleased we were able to get that done.
Myers says that it is important for these discussions to take place to alleviate some of the economical stresses caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's been a really difficult year in terms of COVID-19, the impact on businesses, the financial situation, the outlook, the country as well. So our hope is in these discussions to bring parties closer together. We've been really fortunate where our engagements have been very positive. The employer partners that we have been very understanding in terms of the entire situation. In all of our engagements, we make sure we bring everybody on board, including the reps. We've had a lot of joint general staff meetings as well, making sure that both sides are heard and we come up with resolutions or solutions that will redound to the benefit of everyone, because it's not easy in terms of the world right now with the pandemic and its impact.
Myers says that all stakeholders should work collectively to ensure the smooth recovery of the economy and to ensure that people are placed in the best economical situation they can be presently. Reporting for the Hot 7 Nightly News, I am Karim Nelson.
Stay with us. There's more news after the break.